Many years ago, I started watching a series called Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei, and there's this scene in the first episode that sold me on the entire series. I could watch the entire thing. And it's this bit where this guy goes to, put this noose around his neck and obviously end his own life, and this girl sees him in this act, panics, runs over, grabs him, and starts yanking him down and obviously choking him on the rope. And eventually, when he finally gets loose, he gets angry at her and says, "What are you trying to kill me?" And it was like this funny thing that I'm sold on this. And it's sort of how I felt with this recent statement that was made by an admin of MangaDex. Yes, for those that have missed this has been kind of making the rounds, getting very, very popular around the state of MangaDex and the fact that they're doing this massive purging of the website. And while people are now bringing up their concerns around this purge, laying out all the evidence and saying, hey, all this stuff is happening, give us a statement on exactly what's happening, are you removing this for a certain reason? Eventually, one of the admins finally responded. And they said this, which they crossed out. I'm actually thankful the fact they left it on the actual website here. But they say, stop the misinformation. Titles being removed depict inappropriate activities between characters that are young, either in appearances, handled on a case-by-case basis, or confirmed in dialogue. It's about law and compliance with it. I'm not going to read the rest of that. That's a little bit too much information, and it kind of makes me concerned about this individual, but we'll go back to the prior element here. It says, it's about the law and compliance with it. Yes, for those who don't know what we're talking about here, we're talking about MangaDex. For those who don't know what MangaDex is, it's a piracy website. This website, every single thing on here is illegal to have on this website. So this is like that, again, that was what I was saying about that whole scene from Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei. It's a guy that wants to delete himself, and he's going to do the act of it, and then somebody is trying to save him, but in action is hurting him and causing him to quicken it, and he gets upset about it. This is a piracy site, and an admin is saying that we're not allowed to have certain content on the website because it's against the law, and it's in compliance to remove it. Now, again, I'm glad they actually left this up here. It obviously showed that they were very upset about somebody calling out what's actually being removed from the website and eventually, in a sense, grandstanding. And I like the fact they left it up. They did a follow-up saying, jumping back to it because my previous post had a sentence that was poorly worded and came off as too much of a personal attack or moral grandstanding. Yeah, obviously moral grandstanding here. I mean, this is obviously a very touchy subject. We're talking about content being on this website, MangaDex, that is depicting young-looking characters, wrote or whatever. Yes, it's drawings. It's not actual people. I mean, we have plenty of situations happening right now. We have the Epstein's file stuff happening right now. There's plenty of stuff right now to be upset about that's actually real. But this is obviously showing a more kind of moral standing here in the idea that this website had depiction of young characters in inappropriate acts, and now they want to remove it from the website. I think the obvious hypocrisy that kind of comes with this whole situation is that if their concern is kind of following laws and, putting characters that are in compromised positions or, again, inappropriate acts is their concern, then where do you draw the line? Like always with this situation, where do you draw the line? Is it going to be drawn, at explicitly that kind of stuff with actual actions happening with the young characters? Is it going to spread to everything that is potentially inappropriate in general? Is 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You going to be knocked off the list? Is Berserk with its inappropriate stuff in it with young characters, is that going to be taken off the list? It's like, where do you draw the line? It's like I always keep saying, and this is really my stance on the whole situation, is that where do you draw the line? There's always going to be like inappropriate depictions of young characters in literally every single manga, light novel, anime that's out there. Where do you draw the line? That's the struggle that a lot of these companies are going to have. And it's already being called out. In their forums, when they actually mention this, you literally have people that are saying, well, what about this series? What about this series? What about this series? And a lot of people that don't really care about the lolly show stuff, they're just more upset about the idea of like, where are you going to draw the line? Does that mean you're going to take out My Dress Up Darling? My Dress Up Darling has the depiction of young characters in a lot of inappropriate situations. The main character's constantly taken off the stuff. 2.5 dimensional deduction. Is that going to be taken off the list? Again, it's all in where you draw the line. The question is, and this is why I'm really bringing up this video, because, I've made my points around that whole stuff before. What we're really kind of bringing up right here is, okay, Why is this stuff being removed? Is it because of moral standing? Is it that there's a new staffing that is actually taking over the website and they don't like this stuff and thus they want it removed? Or, as I said a minute ago, is this actually law? And if so, which laws are you actually conforming to? Because again, your website has nothing but illegal content on it. I don't know, I might be out of the loop here, but I'm pretty 100% sure here that nothing on this website is legally allowed to be on this website. Do they have licenses for any of this stuff on the website? If not, it's illegal to have it on their website. So what is this legal standard they're talking about here? Anyways, getting back to their follow-up here. They say, I also didn't provide enough context on the content being removed, so that's on me. I've been reading some of the replies, and thank you for voicing your opinions and concerns. Whether in this thread or elsewhere, users want clarification on the removal, so please find it below. We are made aware of the content that goes against our content policy, specified clause 3.1.1 regarding underage characters in inappropriate settings. The content that was removed, and some content still being reviewed, includes entries labeled mature in characters that are engaging in actual actions. Either they are clearly very young in appearance, and the content does not confirm that they are adults, or the content itself confirms they are underage. Nothing else is being examined at this time. We're currently exploring options to retain title entries and other non-infringing metadata, but for now, we need to proceed with the removal. Okay. So earlier, they said it's about the law, which again, if that's the case, cite the law. That's perfectly fine. Now they're saying it's actually a clause within their website. Like their website has a policy and they don't want it. Now, honestly, me personally, I say, if the website doesn't want that stuff on it, 100% I back them. Now, people can decide to go elsewhere if that's a problem for them, but the website itself can choose what they want and what they don't want. I just don't like this idea personally where they're trying to blame a law or something like that when the website itself is literally illegal to be up. There's nothing legal about this website. Now, this all gets to the reason why I'm actually making this video, because honestly, everything before this is really just kind of telling you guys what exactly happened, and it's really getting into the realms of something that's very divided for a lot of people. Whether or not you like the idea of young characters being depicted in inappropriate situations, and whether you think that's actually harming people or that it's morally wrong. The speculation here that's very interesting to me to kind of dive into is why they're doing this. And I don't really necessarily think that it's law. Yeah, you can probably speculate that there's a lot of issues with things like UK, the law that's happening in Texas that I've talked about before, which is, yes, does technically have a lot of things that will prevent it from affecting anime and manga, but in actuality, it creates sort of a chilling effect where a lot of websites, a lot of companies, a lot of vendors are going to be afraid of breaking a potential law in Texas that is making it illegal to depict art as underage and in inappropriate situations. That chilling effect will cause them to not want to sell or display or distribute stuff that could be under question mark about the age of the characters. In the end, I think that potentially could be it. It could be an aspect that they are afraid of coming under fire of legal challenges of governments and whatnot by laws, because for the most part, for a lot of what's on these websites that are, illegally being distributed that are not licensed by them, they're not too concerned. There's a lot of piracy sites. A lot of them are not very afraid of a lot of these, copyright holders. Eventually it will come for them. It's an eventuality, but for the most part, they're not really worried about that. They're worried about governments because governments give the companies the tools to take them down. The other thing that a lot of people are speculating around this decision by MangaDex is around the idea of them going legit. I'm going to say 100% that's not going to be the case. That is not going to be the case. Yes, we technically have cases in the past where stuff like that has happened. Crunchyroll used to be a piracy site, and eventually Crunchyroll, started licensing things and then slowly started kicking out anything that was pirated off their website and eventually became 100% legit. Then, of course, there's Faku. Faku used to be a piracy site, and then eventually it grew into something where it started to legally distribute doujinshis and whatnot. The problem with comparing those cases to this case and saying, oh, here it is happening again, this site's going to go legit, it's going to start having nothing but manga that's, legally distributed. The problem is that, unlike with Crunchyroll and Faku, there's already an established market here for what MangaDex is doing. Crunchyroll evolved into a market that didn't exist before. There wasn't a legal available streaming service for anime until Crunchyroll created, or at least evolved into it. With Faku, there wasn't a legally available distribution of their content, so they created it. With MangaDex, there already exists plenty of manga platforms. Crunchyroll has a manga platform. Shonen Jump, all these companies, Seven Seas, Kodansha, so on and so forth. All these companies have legal availability for their content. It's on Kindles and whatnot. So it's not as if MangaDex themselves really have anything to offer to the world. Now, it could still be it. That could still be their goal. Their goal is to get rid of these very questionable things off their website, and then they can progress into becoming legit in some way and be able to, again, conform to laws. But honestly, if that happens, they're not going to survive for very long because, again, there is so much competition in that realm. They're not going to be able to provide something that's going to be special. It's not like there's anybody during this entire fiasco happening about these takedowns off of MangaDex that are people going, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm going to lose my MangaDex if things go bad and go south because it's inherently amazing. No, nobody cares about MangaDex at the end. This site will die and another one will pop up. The last one that a lot of people are bringing up is the potential about payment processors that might be what could be, changing a lot what's happening here, advertisers and whatnot. That could potentially be as well, but I'm not 100% entirely sure there. I'm not familiar with what kind of, donation systems that MangaDex themselves have. They could be potentially using some sort of PayPal or something like that. If that's the case, potentially. But I would probably argue that most of their revenue is probably coming from massive titles like shonens and whatnot that are getting advertisements fed to people that are viewing them. If you go to a big shonen series, you see the advertisements pop up, they're probably getting most of their money from that. That's what typically a lot of these manga piracy sites are getting most of their revenues from. They're advertisements that are being fed to people that are, reading Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that. I think what I come down to is my prediction that's coming down to is that it's either potentially, again, a chilling effect from the laws in, Texas and other laws that are being brought up here and there across the United States. A lot of the laws that are sprouting up in the UK and whatnot that could be, curving their desire to get into certain things. And again, if that's their prerogative, if the administrators are like, look, we don't really want this stuff here either, that's all them. I mean, that's their choice. And at the end of the day, the people going to the website are going to choose where they go to. If they lose it and the user wants it, they're going to go somewhere else. But anyways, that's my whole take on the whole situation with MangaDex. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support more, become a member. Until next time, you'll take care.